Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So today we're heading back to Legacy for one of the crazier decks I've seen in a while. This is 4-color Super Friends featuring 6 different Planeswalkers. Technically, it's kind of a Grixis-based deck that's just barely splashing green, but still, this deck is really crazy for Legacy. You rarely see 6 unique Planeswalkers in the same deck. This build recently took Seema to a 5-0 finish in a Legacy League on Magic Online. So congrats to Seema on their finish with the deck. I can't get over that name. That name is just very rhymey and funny. Anyway, a quick reminder before we break it all down. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So let's talk 4-color Super Friends. So first off, we got to talk about the Planeswalkers. So in Legacy, you see Liliana, you see Jace, occasionally you see deck Faden, but this deck is just going super deep. So it takes advantage of the fact that in Legacy you get Brainstorm and Fetch Land, so you can really cycle through your deck a lot and find certain cards. So even though all these Planeswalkers are one-ofs, your chances of finding them when you need them isn't really that low, because you're really good at cycling through your deck. So Saheeli Rai, I have no idea why this is in the deck. I guess it scries and deals damage. You don't have anything super exciting to copy. I guess you can copy like a Snapcaster Mage maybe. And then you don't even really have anything to do with the ultimate. So kind of a weird inclusion in the deck, unless it's just for the scry ability. Deck Faden helps you cycle through your deck, find more Planeswalkers. You can steal an artifact, which is only relevant in certain matchups. Maybe you can hit a Batter Skull, maybe you can hit another equipment, or you run into like a mud deck that's all artifacts, but it kind of hit or miss, so I think mostly it's to cycle through your deck. Ashiok, really good in slower matchups, so when you can just keep plussing this and plussing it, it eats away your opponent's library pretty quickly. Liliana is a Legacy staple, does a whole bunch of good things. Then we have a Chandra Torch of Defiance, another way to dig through your deck, can shoot down quite a few creatures, doesn't necessarily get Tarmogoyf, but it does hit a lot of other things. And then, of course, a single Jace the Mind Sculptor, another one of the Legacy staple Planeswalkers. As far as the rest of the deck, we look a lot like a Grixis kind of control deck. So we got Deathrite Shaman, ramps us into our Planeswalkers a turn early, can play our Saheeli Rais and our Deck Fadens and our Lilianas on turn 2, play our Jace and Chandra on turn 3. Young Pyromancer kind of makes an army on its own, very good at defending Planeswalkers from ground creatures because you cast your Brainstorm, Cabal Therapy, Force of Will, you get a token can chump a Tarmogoyf so your Planeswalkers stay alive. Baleful Strix, also very good at defending your Planeswalkers, and technically gives you something to do with your Saheeli Rai ultimate. Search out a Baleful Strix, gotcha. And then a single Snapcaster Mage to flashback a ton of spells. So Brainstorm, Gitaxian Probe, help you cycle through your deck. Like I said, lots of one-ofs. Brainstorm helps you find them. Gitaxian Probe also gives you an information advantage. Really works well with the Young Pyromancer because you can pay Pyromancer on 2, immediately Gitaxian Probe for the life, get a token. So even if your opponent Lightning Bolts or Swords to Plowshares your Young Pyromancer, you're still getting value out of it. And then we have some disruption. Cabal Therapy also works pretty well with Young Pyromancer. You cast it from your hand, guess a card, you can maybe get lucky and hit it, or you have some information from Gitaxian Probe. But then when you cast it, you get a token from Young Pyromancer, so you can use that token to immediately fetch back Cabal Therapy, and this time you know your opponent's hand, so you're going to hit, and then you get another token to make up for the one you sacked. Collective Brutality can kill like a Delver, can also be like a Duress, so it does a lot of different things. And then Rise Fall is a weird one. I'm assuming that the deck builder wanted him to Turok, which is sort of what Fall is. You can almost him to Turok, except it doesn't hit land cards, but maybe the mana was a problem. And then we have Lightning Bolts as removal. For counters, we have a single Daze and 4 Force of Wills, kind of the standard for Legacy. If you're playing a deck like this, you gotta have Force of Will to protect yourself from the turn 1, turn 2 kill decks. In the mana base, a ton of fetch lands, works well with Deathrite Shaman, works well with Brainstorm, so very essential to the deck. Some dual lands of various colors, and then just a couple of basic lands, so watch out for Blood Moon. As far as the sideboard, we get a bunch more counters, Pyroblast, Spell Pierce, and Flusterstorm. Then we have a bunch more removal. Forkbolt can get 2 unflipped Delvers or like a Delver and a young Pyromancer. Dismember can kill bigger things like Tarmogoyf. Toxic Deluge can wipe away the board if you're willing to pay some life. Pithing Needle and Surgical Extraction. Fairies hate. Needle can deal with opposing Planeswalkers, Wastelands, whatever you're concerned about. Surgical Extraction hates on the graveyard. And then a bunch of cards to deal with artifacts or enchantments. So Ancient Grudge and No Rod, specifically for artifacts. Sealed Primordium can hit either. Then we have an Umezawa's Jit as an equipment and a Notion Thief to fizzle opponents' card draws. So that is 4-color Super Friends for Legacy, and that is our crazy instant deck tag for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon.